This is a strange wooden man. He initiated the duel himself, but suddenly, he put down the huge axe in his hand and lowered his head to his enemy. This left Jack completely dumbfounded, but if his opponent wanted to die, he wouldn't let him off. So Jack gathered his courage and struck the wooden man's neck with a fierce blow. He thought the duel was over, but unexpectedly, the wooden man stood up again the next second and slowly picked up his own head from the ground. Now it was Jack's turn to be stunned, because according to the duel rules, 1 year later, he had to find the wooden man and accept the same fatal blow. After the wooden man left, Jack turned into a national hero and enjoyed an unprecedented respect. But time flew by. The year was almost up, though he was very reluctant. For the sake of his own honor, he had no choice but to say goodbye to his beloved girlfriend and set out on a lonely journey. To ensure his son's safe return, his mother specially made him a protective amulet belt. She told him that it would keep him safe. However, just after leaving the city, Jack lost his way. He asked a boy where the green church was. The boy kindly pointed him in the right direction. Jack trusted him and went on his way, but it turned out to be a deadly trap. The boy was actually the leader of a gang. He had deliberately lured Jack into the deserted forest. Then Jack was bound by several people. He could only watch as his luggage was raided. Even his protective belt was taken. What's worse, the boy picked up a giant axe and claimed he would complete Jack's mission. Then, he swiftly rode off on Jack's horse. Jack could only lie on the ground and wait for rescue. Suddenly, a skeleton appeared in front of him. That was the fate he had been waiting for. The terrifying illusion made him realize instantly that only by saving himself could he have a chance of survival. So he did everything he could to cut the ropes on his hands and saved his own life. By now, it was getting dark. Jack had to wander aimlessly through the forest. He got lucky and stumbled upon a small house. He quickly entered seeking help, but it had long been abandoned. There wasn't even a soul inside. Fortunately, there was a clean bed upstairs where he could rest. But in the middle of the night, a woman suddenly appeared beside him. She accused him of taking her bed. Jack quickly apologized and got up. He was about to leave, but she moved toward him and asked him to do her a favor. She led Jack to the pond and asked him to help find her head. It turned out that long ago, a passing knight had tried to claim her. When she rejected him, he brutally chopped off her head and threw it into the pond. Jack sympathized with her tragic fate. Even knowing she was a ghost, he decided to help. So Jack jumped into the pond. He searched and searched. Finally, he found her head. But when he surfaced, the woman had vanished. Jack could only return to the house with the skull and found a headless corpse lying on the bed upstairs. Could it be the same woman? Jack instinctively looked at the skull, but it had turned into a living human head. Terrified, he quickly dropped it. But the next second, the head spoke, thanking Jack for helping her find her body. Since that's the case, he thought, he might as well finish the good deed. So Jack placed the head back on the corpse, and when he turned around, he found that the giant axe was back in the room. This was the reward for Jack's kindness. Reassured, Jack continued on his way to the green church. Along the way, a little fox followed him. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't shake it off. Jack had never suffered like this in his life, but to keep his promise to the wooden man, he pushed his body forward. Just when he thought he couldn't go on, a group of migrating giants appeared ahead. These giants were 100 meters tall. One step was several miles long. Jack was envious. He quickly shouted, asking them to take him along. But when the giants heard, they stretched out their hands, trying to crush him. At that critical moment, the little fox made a strange sound and scared the giants away. That saved Jack's life, but the hope of hitching a ride was gone. He still had to walk step by step. Finally, on a stormy night, Jack saw a castle ahead. He collapsed as soon as he entered the gate. When he woke up, he found that the castle's master had saved him. Then he was warmly treated by the master. Strangely, the master's wife looked exactly like his girlfriend. This made Jack wonder. With such beauty right in front of him, the master said that the green church was nearby. No need to travel far, so Jack stayed with ease. A few days later, the master went hunting. Before leaving, he made an agreement with Jack to exchange the catch for Jack's stay in the castle. But as soon as the master left, the mistress came into Jack's room. She pulled out a green belt. It was the very one Jack had lost. To get the protection of the amulet, Jack had no choice but to trade his body. But after it was over, he felt deeply ashamed. He quickly ran out of the castle. But on his way out, he ran into the master returning from hunting. The master asked for what Jack had earned that day. But Jack didn't want to give up his protective belt. Reluctantly, the master took his first kiss. But he kept his word. He handed Jack a catch, which turned out to be the little fox. After bidding farewell to his friend, Jack continued on his journey. But just as he was nearing his destination, the little fox suddenly blocked his way. And to his surprise, it spoke. The fox warned Jack not to go to the green church. If he turned back now, no one would know. But Jack had come this far. He didn't want to back out now, so he waved his axe and drove the fox away. After crossing the river, he soon found the green church. He gathered his courage and entered, and finally saw the wooden man. Sensing Jack's arrival, the wooden man woke up from his sleep. According to the rules of the duel, now Jack had to lower his head and accept the wooden man's fatal blow. But when facing death, no one can face it calmly. Jack begged for a little time to prepare, finally gathering the courage. But when the wooden man raised his axe, Jack couldn't help but shrink back again. It turned out that to be killed willingly takes more courage than killing. In the end, Jack abandoned his dignity and ran away like a beaten dog. When he ran out of the green church, he found the stolen horse right outside. Could this all be fate? No wonder they say the road to success is always full of thorns, while the road to mediocrity is often smooth. With the help of the horse, Jack quickly returned home. He was met by the king's knights crowning him, and his girlfriend's passionate love. Everyone considered him a hero. No one knew about his retreat. Soon, Jack became king. His life reached its peak, but he despised his girlfriend's lowly background, so he had the newborn baby stolen. Then he married a foreign princess, but he didn't love the princess at all. On their wedding night, he still kept the belt his mother gave him, because it was his amulet for safety. But even with ultimate power, without virtue, one cannot bear the weight. To expand his power, Jack led his army to fight. In the end, he was constantly retreating. His son died in battle. With a broken heart, Jack returned to the kingdom. He encountered the cold gaze of his abandoned wife. Soon, enemies broke into the palace. Jack could only cry on the throne, watching his family abandon him. It seemed that the protective belt didn't work anymore, so he drew out the belt. The next moment, Jack returned to reality. He was still at the Green Church. It had all been a dream. This made him realize that if he ran home, he would end up the same way as in the dream. Seeing his fate clearly, Jack suddenly understood. So he took off the protective belt, ready to face death. But it was this act that made the wooden man lower his axe. He slowly crouched down and gently touched Jack's face.
Well done, my brave knight. Now, off with your head.